Hi, we are going to be looking at Picasso's uh, Weeping Woman, exceptionally a well known painting. There were prints as well, and there's a series of them. His model was Dora Maar. Sometimes he had a relationship with this lady, and he saw her as a person who was suffering a lot of the time in her life. However, at the time too, the Spanish War broke out, 1936 to 1939. His mother, Picasso's mom, wrote and said that she had tears in her eyes. You can quite clearly see the tears pouring out, the eyes just crawling into the eyes, the teeth, a grieving person, almost like the death of children. You can't possibly go on with life with that grief. Picasso did that very well. When you in his composition, you can see that these eyes are looking straight at you. Can you feel my suffering? And the cluttered teeth and the fingers that stare, please, please. His composition is very rich. The way he has used this abstraction, the colors, color tones, contrast, shapes, lines, it gives a story. So much so that when you look at this painting, you can actually feel what it is meant to be. Was Picasso there with her? Because this part of that composition shows somebody else was there with her. Was he thinking about them, mom or his lady friend? And then you can see the other parts of the composition. Is this a tapestry? What is this in the background? Is that in some sort of restaurant or some accommodation area? It certainly does not look like a home. So, what is he trying to say? Where was he? So, this is why we are going to be looking at creating a brand new piece of work using the composition predominantly geometric shapes. How are we going to use them? I am using geometric shapes as much as I can. It is important in this piece of Cubism to use as many geometric shapes as possible. And I really do want to think about the fingers. There's some male and there's some female fingers in there too. Here we go. So I've got the basic shapes. Now I'm going to use color that's going to complement what Picasso used. Bold colors, significantly emotionally resembles that feeling. The lady, no doubt, has some means, so you can see that she has some sense of fashion in her too. Interestingly enough, especially after seeing a war, how was she feeling? What was her relationship with Picasso? I'm going to try and use the same colors, keep to the same colors in Picasso's composition, but with some influences of my own. How do I want to present this? Having known how Picasso presented suffering or grief. So, this is one I did about 10 minutes ago. How it turned out. To make it to a Cubism abstract piece of work, I'm going to cut it up into parts. This is a great lesson for young people. I'll show you in a minute. Because how are you going to include this into a piece of work with composition? They're going to analyze. They're absolutely going to analyze where are they going to put in the mouth and the eyes. The fingers. They probably will change their ideas as they go along as well. Okay, so I sort of like this composition, so I'm going to start pasting it in. Picasso was one of the great artists, obviously, in the whole world at that time because he was able to take on with what was happening in the rest of the world and make work, make it count. He knew how to use art materials. A lot of people think that he was just an abstract artist, but it is not true. So I've done this part of it. Next, I'm going to cut it out to the composition with the key elements in it. This is it. I'm going to detail this now with a few more art elements to highlight what was in Picasso's work. I did talk about the fingers, how important that is. The colors, as much as the black and white areas in Picasso's work, in this particular one. It is quite important. Now, I did see quite a few lines amongst the shapes that Picasso created. I'm taking in his influence. How can I make this composition as good as he did? We can only try, yeah? So, this is the creation of looking at Pablo Picasso's Weeping Woman, Cubism, 1937, recreation of his work.